going to plan to talk about your signature audience, and that's what the workshop is today, and you do have a handout. So let's go through it anyway and see how much you do know about your audience. It starts with a quiz. Hopefully not everyone. Linda, I think you've heard this quiz already. Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask all the questions, write down true or false, and then we'll go back and look at the answers. So just cross off true or false. Your audience comes to hear you speak. True or false? Yeah? Not answer. You don't want to give them the right answer or the wrong. Your speech topic appeals to everybody.
Put something in the middle, maybe.
Your message applies to everyone. True or false? Your audience is everyone in the room. You know what your audience wants to hear. You know what problem your audience is struggling with. And the last question, you can describe your ideal audience. Have you answered all 7 questions?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to the first question. Your audience comes to hear you speak. True or false?
False.
False.
False? False?
True.
True. Why true?
Because your audience is who your message is for. So they're going to come there. They're going to come to hear you speak. Oftentimes you hear these different speakers. Even we send out an agenda. ABC is going to give a speech. Well, they're going to come and so I've been there. Okay, the speech title is interesting. Okay. I want to come and hear this. I want to come and hear this person speak. But if this this speech does not interest me, if I'm busy with other things, I may not come.
Okay, so that maybe see why they said no and see if it's the same answer. Why do you say no, Scott?
Oh, some places I speak, they have to be there.
Okay.
So then they don't care who's speaking, they don't want to be there.
Okay. Linda, why did you say false?
I said no because I was looking at the framework of they weren't coming to hear me, they were coming because they were coming. If they found value in what I had to say, that would be different than coming to hear us.
True.
That's why.
Even if it's President Barack Obama, they're not coming to hear President Barack Obama. The answer is false. Because they are coming to hear just what you're saying. They are coming to hear what that person is going to say, how that person is going to help them. The audience wants to hear something that's going to affect them. Maybe something interesting they can share with somebody else. Maybe some tidbit for the president. Maybe it's some inspirational value or message that they can use. But they're coming there for the message, something that they're going to get that they can use after they leave. They're not coming just because it's a person.
So it's
frankly, even your parents or your spouses or your children will not come to hear you speak because it's you. Think about that. They're coming because they want to support you, or they are proud and want to feel some pride by seeing you speak.
So it also determines who the audience is. No?
The audience, we'll go on to that part, but whoever they are, they're not coming because it's the name. They're coming because of the value that they're going to get when they leave. That's the whole point. They're not coming because of the name. They're coming because of the value that they're going to get when they leave. So your speech topic appeals to everyone. True or false?
False.
I said false.
Scott?
I'm 50-50 on that one.
Okay.
Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. It depends where I'm speaking.
Oh, but then there's people who are not there who would not have been helped by it. So
right.
Your topic does not appeal to everybody.
Right.
So the answer correct is false.
Yeah.
The audience. it will appeal to a certain audience, but not to everybody.
Right.
And frankly, when we have our meetings, there are people in our club, people who are coming here, who are hearing and listening to all this about becoming a professional speaker, who have no interest at all in becoming a professional speaker. It doesn't appeal to them, but they're just here for other reasons. They're here to support the club or whatever. They're here to do and practice advanced speeches. But it's not because the topic appeals to them. So no, your topic does not appeal to everybody. Your message applies to everybody. True or false?
False.
False. Of course not. Even the same process, the same idea, may have, the messages may not work. It may not work for everybody. So no, it doesn't apply to everybody. This may help answer number 4. Your audience is everyone in the room. True or false?
So I put true in that. I mean, they have the audience, right?
The audience for your message?
I put false.
It's false. Yeah, because there are people in the room who are just in the room because, frankly, you mentioned the people who are forced to be there at a meeting. Are they the audience?
No.
I mean, they're there. Some people who you're going to be grabbing, it may only be one person who you're going to be impacting with your message. That's your audience. If no one else cares, no one else wants it, they're just there. But you are talking to that one person and trying to get that message across. So the answer is false. You know what your audience wants to hear.
False.
False.
Scott?
If they're actually my audience, it's true.
It's true.
But if they're not my audience,
I didn't say that. The people who are not your audience, you have a specific audience, a group of people who need your message, who you want to help. That audience, whether it's one person in that big room or everybody, one person, you know what they want. You know what they want to hear. If you know your audience, you know what they want to hear. So the answer should be true. You should go in thinking, I know these people, I know what they want and what their problem is. I know what they want to hear. Which answers number 6. You know what problem your audience is struggling with, true or false? Your audience, the people you're talking to.
True.
It's true. Of course. If you know your audience and you want to help them and you have a way to help them, you should know what their problem is. And you can describe your ideal audience. True. Yeah. Linda wants to talk to leaders and volunteer organization leaders. Well, she would not go to a club that's not involved with that, who doesn't have leaders, or the anarchist group. She wouldn't go to those. There are no leaders. What are the first 2 rules of public speaking? Know your audience. Sure. Know your audience. Know who you want to reach. And the second rule, AV to your audience, we've heard this before.
Add value.
Add value, yes. You want your audience to leave better than when they came. They want to leave better than when they came. Know your audience. What do you want to know? I just listed some what I thought. You want to know who your audience is? How you can help them? Where you can find them? And will they get anything they want to pay you? If you want to be a professional speaker. Remember what we said before, pay reward does not have to be monetary. It could be appreciation, it could be respect. Whatever you want for your reward, will they give that to you? What else would you think you'd want to know about your audience? Is there anything else?
I would want to know, and I actually do know, what other resources that I have that can can help me to connect with that, if that's, in other words, if I know my audience well, then I also know if they're volunteer organizations and leaders, then I also know who some of their partners are, and I do.
Yes.
So they could be allies in the cause. It doesn't have to be just me,
Mhm.
but I would have to prove to them as well that I was adding value to the process, or not.
And how would you use the resources, those people? Do you use them for connection? Do you use them for credibility? Or?
Yes, connection and credibility.
Yeah, sort of the same.
Yes.
Very good. Okay. Which sort of goes to the next question. Why do you want to know? Why do you want to know who your audience is? One, to find them. Two, to know what they need. And three, is more in what you're saying. If you know the resources, you know the people, then you know how to communicate with them better. And communicate, I don't mean just get up and speech. I mean, be able to talk to and relate to them. Like you're saying, get that credibility, get that buy-in, support, and be able to just talk one-on-one, because as we said before, it's a conversation. And if you want to sell to them, sell to them. Sell them your product, money or reward or whatever recognition you want. Anything else you want to know? You said the resources, which is a good way to put the communications.
This is probably an add-on to resources, but if you know somebody, not only a resource, not only somebody who's a partner or farther ahead, but somebody who's trying to do something similar. For example, Jared mentioned grassroots organization. So that could work a number of ways. So if I partnered with somebody, and I did in 1990 to start a grassroots organization, and I know Jared is doing that, and I know she's way far ahead of us and there's a resource, I believe there's energy around that, and it's not an accident that we end up partnered in the same room or being aware. So to share that information so that we can move forward
The
together.
networking type of
Yes.
development, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, good. That's right. And that will help a lot in getting you forward, getting your message across, getting yeah.
Right.
Good.
Right. Yeah, and using each other's strengths.
And using those. Yeah.
Yes.
Good. So what do you want to know about your audience? Elicit three. What's their problem? What's their issue? What are they struggling with? What do they look like, and where can you find them? If you have a specific audience in mind, people that you can help, do you know what they are, what they look like, how you can, and then how you can reach them? Are there any other questions? Anything else generally that you need? Because we're going to start talking about those questions.
The one thing that comes to my mind, I don't know what phase, but what do you want to know about your audience is if you made a difference. Can you make a difference in their life and in their situation?
Yes. And how do you know that?
Right. How do you know that?
You'll know that with, well, someone else can answer that one. How do you know you're going to make a difference in someone else's life? Thoughts?
For myself, I've had people tell me, I mean, I follow up on them all the time to see how they're doing. And then eventually, they're either going to grow or they're going to go.
Okay. I guess my thought is, you give the message, here's what I think you could use to help you. You know that they want some help because they are struggling with the same thing you were struggling with. You found the answer, you're finding the answer, and you want to help them. So you want to help them. And you'll find out by communication and by practice and by getting that connection how much you're helping them. But your goal is to help them. And the presentation and the feedback and the continued help will be able to help. Once you build that bond, do I feel like I am helping you in developing a topic?
Yes.
I think so, because I feel with the interaction, with the questions, and with the participation. Well, you'll feel the same way. You go, and not all the time will it work, but you'll find those people who really want your help, and you will be able to help. And once you build that bond, that connection, that's where you find that the answer to the question. That help?
Yes.
It's not going to be something that you know beforehand. It's something you'll feel on the way. And like Scott was saying, there are some people, for me, I will go and I just say something or do something. I don't realize the value that it's given them until later on. I've done my best to help that person. And I'm very glad when it does help them. I don't realize how much it has until later on when they give that feedback.
I think if you've been in situations a number of times where you really would have benefited for help, and I have, and they were fairly dire situations, and I didn't communicate the situation or what would have helped me, or if I did, people didn't really have, didn't know what to do or know what to say, then I think that adds value to my ability, if you will, to help people if I've been where some of them are.
Yeah.
In my case, way too often I turn to books. So I joined actually this organization because I wanted to write and I wanted to be able to speak about what I wrote. But ideally, I think books are fine and the internet and all that is fine.
Yeah.
But one-on-one communication, I really try not to miss that chance to say a few words or to receive a few words that will either help me or help others. So I really believe there's a need, and I believe that very short dialogue is missed too often.
That's very true. But there was something else that you said that really goes back to the whole main point of knowing your audience. Your audience is you. Your audience is you in the past, people who are struggling with the same thing you were just struggling with. But again, you have found an answer. You are past that, and you want to help them get past that because they can avoid some of the mistakes that you've made. So how do you know that you are helping someone? Because you feel like that was the help that you would have liked back then. Even for Linda, even for Scott, you're looking for people who are in the same situation that you were in, or in a similar situation, and you want to help lead them away from the mistakes. Your audience is you. So that's sort of a hint of how they answer the questions in the next 2 pages. These are some questions that I've written out that I think about when I'm considering my work. I don't expect you to come up with detailed answers right now. You may be able to, you may not to. But these are excellent questions to continue to think about as you develop your topic, as you develop your message. So keep this paper. I'll send it out electronically so you can keep writing on it and changing it and adding to it. And even changing it, as I said, you may want to focus more. But do you know what your audience's problem is? Can you describe it? Hint, it's your problem. It's the problem that you were struggling with. I wanted to get an answer to that couldn't, and it took you a long time to find it.
I see all these.
Pardon?
I keeping all these that you're giving me.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
I'm bringing them with me to compare if I need to.
Good. That's what I want you to do. I want to not practice. I'm practicing. I'll be honest. I'm practicing. But not just practice, but to actually help you to develop those skills that you can use outside. Like, when did I say this? Or how many times have I said this? Toastmasters is not a destination. It's a tool. Take advantage of the tool to develop yourself outside of Toastmasters. But at the same time, you're helping the audience if you're here. I'm hopefully helping you.
Hey, Fred,
Yes.
I just wanted to make this point. When I leave here, I'm going to a luncheon with a volunteer organization. And these questions will help any volunteer or any organization, but certainly as volunteers, because as volunteers, as you said, you're not tied into some of the monetary value and that type of thing. But I think these are true for any organization.
Exactly.
What is our purpose? And that organization is generally struggling, or genuinely struggling with what is our purpose.
Yeah.
In my view, they're kind of struggling with some of the solutions don't necessarily, match where they want to go. But these would maybe help, them or any organization.
I hope so. Yeah, that's the idea. This is a complete aside, but something we would have been talking about 5 or 6 lessons down the road as to how to get out and get business. Ask for it.
Right.
If you think that they could help, if I could help them, in other words, I'll be glad to come and talk to them. And yeah, and if you are in a situation, you hear someone, and you want to talk to another group that they are associated with, ask the person. Amanda, if you think that there's a group that would benefit from your message, especially after you develop that speech and that process, then say, I'm up here, I've given this, and I'd like to talk to other organizations if you have.
Fred, I want to say this. You have no idea what you just unearthed
Okay.
when you mentioned that the audience, it was you, something that you struggled with. Because it goes to what is your audience's problem, pain. And I remembered for the longest time, I was quiet, not really speaking in front of an audience, not taking on projects, getting involved in this or that. So by simply stepping out of my comfort zone, doing something different, has completely changed who I am. Because there's people at work that remembers where I was when I first started there, and to now it's completely phenomenal difference. And I thought about it. I'm like, that actually should be my message because it is strong, it is powerful.
And I remember your first meetings in Beaches when you were quiet and shy and hard to hear. Yeah, and I know I've seen the amazing transformation. Yes, you can help other people get to that same point. Do you think there are other people who are shy and don't want to speak in front of a group? And
Absolutely.
You know some of those people.
I know one.
You got an audience, another person in the audience, he can connect you. Yes, perfect. Yeah, your audience is you, so help them. And you can describe all these issues. What is your audience's problem? Because it probably was yours in some way. Yeah. You can describe, do they know they have a problem?
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Right.
Frankly, we've all been shy and afraid. Well, not all of us, but I'll be honest. But some of us have been shy and a little afraid to speak. We thought, well, that's natural. That's us. That's me. That's not a problem. But we don't realize everything that we've lost because we haven't been getting out and speaking up. And you're the same way, I'm sure. I know. Once you realize that you have a voice and you can get out there and you can take that risk and be safe, you realize how much you could have done more if you'd done this earlier.
Had I known especially when I was in college.
Yeah.
Had I known earlier.
Yeah. So, perfect. But the question is, do they know they have a problem?
No.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't. So, do they know how much it's hurting them, how much it's costing them in time, or in money, or in missing out on other opportunities? So start to think about some of those questions. What does your audience want? Do they want you to help them? Do they know what they'd like to do? Where they would like to be? And is it clear to them? Or they just say, gee, I wish I wasn't here, or do they say, I wish I was there? Those are two different questions, aren't they? Do I wish I was not here, or do I wish I was there?
Being in the audience and I hear about someone's personal struggle, the one question in my mind is, what did they do to get out of it? What did they do to arise?
And as we go through this process, that's what you are going to be able to do and tell your audience. Well, the pain process, the promise is that part. Where was I? Where I am now, and how did I get there? And that's what you can do, is help those people get there. What would they pay or give? If you want to be professional in some way, you want to get some reward, do you know those people will give you that reward? Do you know if you just want some recognition, some appreciation, will they give that? Will they take it? You really want to know that. You don't want someone to take advantage of you, and you'll feel worse after that. So. And then the big question, how can you help them? What is your answer for them? And that's another topic that we'll be going through later on in the signature series. What is your process? But generally, what's your message? Where are you going to bring it? So the last part of this, on the last page, start to think about some of these specific questions. Sometimes the answer isn't going to matter. Age. Frankly, for Linda, you know that under a certain age or over a certain age may not be applicable. It may be within a certain range. Sex, it may be both male and female. Race may not change, be different, but income might be, because people with higher income may be more likely to volunteer. So start to think about that. If you think that, and know that your audience has a certain characteristic or set of characteristics, how is that going to help? How is it going to help if you know that your audience is within a certain income range? Do you know the answer to that question? How is it going to help you?
Anything you can do to target your audience it won't waste time.
Okay.
I think it'll be a more effective way to reach them, and also target your message
Exactly.
to that group.
Both those points, exactly right. One, you can find and target that certain group, so you don't look for others, you mainly look at a certain area, a certain income bracket. And then when you're talking to them, you can communicate with them a little bit better. You can relate with them. You may not talk about other struggles, about being whatever. So it would help you by knowing some of these answers to these questions. If you want to talk to people who are single, then marital status may be important. If it's not important, then you just know that, but you may be able to relate to them better. Start thinking about all of these. There are others. We have a lot, but not all of them will apply to your audience, but all of them will apply to some audience for somebody. Then the last question, how can you find your audience? Do you know where they're located? If you don't, as you start to answer some of these questions, you can find out and figure out where they are. And then later on we will talk about, in another session we'll talk about how you can locate your audience. Do they know, other audience members know those references or suggesting, here, go talk to this person. Groups, whether they're in Rotary or a volunteer group or a professional group or just co-workers, then how can you reach them? You may not know all these answers right now, but you're starting to get an idea of how to get these answers. So your signature audience is the group of people who will be most impacted by your message. They'll be most able to be helped by what you have. And these are the people you want to reach. As we said in the answers to those quiz questions, it's not everybody, it's only certain people. So start to think about who your audience is, how you can identify them. Then you'll know how you can relate to them, and communicate with them, and find them. It'll help you later on when we're developing the message, when we're developing the process, to know who that audience is. Any questions? What do you think?
Very good.
Can I help you?
Love it.
Man? Okay.
I loved it because you helped me discover my message in this.
Good. That's it. That's it.
Hey, Amanda, when you were talking about your message, your whole demeanor changed.
Yes, it did.
Yes.
Your
Yes.
demeanor changed, and I've seen a little bit of the before and after, not like Fred did, but as it just built your energy and your demeanor, and it was so good to see from over here on this side of the room. Nice.
And your audience can pick up on that pretty easily, whether you're just
Yeah.
talking and interested or want to share some information, or if you're actually excited about it. Remember that feeling, because you're going to want to continue using that.
Okay.
Good job. Okay.
One more thing.
Yes.
I happen to know because Scott has told me, and he mentioned it here today, that he has spoken at Rotary clubs. Now I would like to speak at a Rotary club, for example, but I've never spoken at a Rotary
Okay.
club. So Scott is a great resource about how do you book something at the Rotary, what kind of places do they meet, different info. So
Good question.
that would be another resource.
Scott, how do
for
you
example.
usually get booked at a Rotary Club?
The ministry I work with does that for me.
Okay.
All right. We have one of our board of directors that's way up there, and he's the one that does that for me.
Okay.
Right.
And,
Good. And
It's a big crowd. That's a big crowd too.
It is, yeah. Small rotaries and big rotaries, most of
This
it.
one had about 300 people
Wow.
Wow.
Cool.
for a lunchtime meeting.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when you go, do you bring materials? Hand out stuff or anything?
No.
No? Yes, for donations or anything?
Yes, we get donations from the ministry
From the club, not from the individuals.
from the club.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Well, the members of the club donate to them
Okay.
if they choose to.
Yeah.
They don't have to.
So it's like a pass the plate type of thing?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Fundraiser.
Okay.
But that's kind of, not drawing an analogy, but speaking at other Toastmasters clubs, that's what you need, that's what I see. Big room, small room, high ceiling, low ceiling,
Yeah.
number of people. So that dynamic that Scott said, I know Rotaries are different. There's a Rotary right next to where I work.
Mhm.
almost. So that would be a good place to start, but it would be nice to know going in, and Scott would know some of that, and what questions
So
to ask.
here's how you would get booked at that club. You go visit it a couple times, and you get the agenda, you get online, find out, talk to the person who's there, bookmaker, who does it, and talk to them and ask. And then you write them a note, or give them that letter there and say, I'd like to speak at your club.
No.
Just ask, because they're always looking for people. They meet every week, don't they?
Yeah, and then when you find out about know your audience,
Uh-huh.
you'll know your audience, how they dress, how you need to dress for that
Oh, yeah.
occasion. Because I was the only one that showed up without a suit coat on.
That's a good point.
Yeah. But you also know if they're all lawyers or all volunteers
Right.
or all
Right.
businessmen or whatever. Why are they there? Or if they're all politicians. And you know if they're going to really want your message or not.
Right.
Are you out there for
That's a
practice
good
or are you
point.
out there to actually connect?
Yeah, that's a good
Because by
point.
knowing your audience, like they're lawyers or what type of people they are, you can kind of you'll know how to put them into your speech, to use examples, to make
Yes.
them feel a
Yes.
part.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And you'll learn how to relate to them. You have to be able to get on, this is what I've been learning, is I have to learn to relate to them. How they can understand what I can do to help them. I might not be able to help them per se, but I might be able to help someone in their family.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Good. Very good point. You have to know who your audience is and know that, what we said before, know that information so you can use that when you're communicating with them. Good.